All right, everybody. Here goes a video on exponent rules. So a lot of these are throwback to Algebra 1, but we're going to just review them so you know what we're talking about. So when you are multiplying two variables of the same base with different exponents, you add the exponents. So x squared times x cubed would give us x to the fifth power. When you raise an exponent to another exponent, you multiply those. So x squared to the third power would be x to the sixth. If you have multiple terms inside of parentheses, raised to an exponent, but I want you to make special note, there's no plus or minus sign in between them, then you raise both of them to that exponent and multiply. So x squared times 4 is x to the 8th, y to the first times 4 is y to the 4th. Anything raised to 0 is 1. A negative exponent does not make it negative. It means it's a reciprocal. So x to the negative 3 would be 1 over x cubed. And when you are dividing, similar to multiplying, when you divide, you subtract the exponents. So x to the fifth over x squared would be x cubed. Okay? So those are all the basic exponent rules. Now, the question of the day is, can you apply them? So the best way to go through this video is to actually have you try all of these questions on your own first. A lot of this is Algebra 1 review. So press the pause button, give it a shot. When you're ready, click play. We'll see if you got them right. Give them a try, y'all. Okay, 2 times 3 is still 6. But x squared times x cubed would be x to the fifth power. You don't add those. Numbers are still numbers. Don't change the rules of numbers. We're only talking about exponent rules. Second one, we are squaring both terms on the inside. So 3 squared is 9, and x to the fourth squared would be x to the eighth. When you raise an exponent to another exponent, you multiply. 4 divided by 2 is still 2. You have x to the fifth on top and 1x in the denominator. So you have x to the fourth. Now, if you want to see that visually, that would be something along the lines of 5x's on top, 1x on the bottom. So you can just cancel, and you have 4x's, just to give you a little visual representation of what that looks like. This one, first thing you're going to want to do is combine all of your like terms. So we have x squared and an x to the negative fourth. That's going to give us x to the negative 2. We have y cubed and y to the fourth, so that's going to give us y to the seventh. And we have z to the negative 2 and z to the fifth. That's going to give us z to the third. But the only thing we don't like here is we are never allowed to have a negative exponent in our answer. So that negative, remember, is a reciprocal. So the final answer for this guy should be y to the seventh, z cubed all over x squared. When you are dividing, remember you are subtracting. So we have 4x's on top, 2 on the bottom. So that's going to give you x squared on top. You have y to the sixth on the top, y to the eighth on the bottom. So if you subtracted and 6 minus 8 would be a negative 2, remember that goes downstairs. Another way to think about it is, where do you have more? There's more y's in the denominator. So you do 8 minus 6 and you get y squared in the denominator. And then the z's are the same number on top and bottom, so they just cancel. Last one. We have 2 x's in the denominator that want to be on the top. Remember, the negative just means reciprocal. So that's actually going to give you 4 x's on top. Also, 2 minus a negative 2 is going to give you 4 anyway. And then you have 3 y's that would rather be in the denominator. So that's going to give you over y to the 8th power. Okay? So that's this first set of practice problems. Hopefully you did pretty good. We'll just do this last row really quick. Again, if you would like to try these on your own, press the pause button and give them a shot. Let's see how it turns out. So when you raise an entire fraction to a negative power, the best way to start that question is to rewrite it. and just take the reciprocal now. So that's 2x to the 4th y all over 4x squared y cubed. Now we're going to square everything on the inside. So that's 4 x to the 8th y squared all over 16 x to the 4th y to the 6th. And now just simplify again from there. So 4 over 16 is 1/4. X to the 8 on top, x to the 4th on the bottom. So we have x to the 4th on top. We have y squared on top, y to the 6th on the bottom. So that's y to the 4th on the bottom. Yes, you could have simplified, then flipped. You could do this all sorts of different ways. I just went through what I thought might be the easiest for you. We're multiplying here. 2 times 3 is still 6. That guy goes away and turns into a 1, so we have x squared, and then y times y squared would be y cubed. And this last one, the answer is just 2x squared y, because that entire thing just turns into a 1 as well. Okay, so that is just your basic exponent rules applied to some simple questions. We're going to finish with 4 that are a step above, okay? So here's the thing. The exponent rules do not change. So you got to ask yourself, when you're multiplying, what do you do with exponents? Well, you add them. So we have x to the 3a plus 2 times x to the 4a. When you multiply, you add the exponents. So that's x to the 7a plus 2. All we did was add them. And then we have y to the b power times y to the 4b minus 1. b plus 4b would be 5b. And nothing minus 1 is still minus 1. Okay? So exact same rules. You don't change anything. The only thing you have to do is sometimes work with variables as your exponents. Okay? So why don't you pause the video and give these last 3 a try. We'll recap and then we'll be done. Okay, remember when you divide you are subtracting the exponents. So 8m minus 4m is 4m, and a negative 2 minus a negative 7 is a positive 5. And then you have your y. 3n minus 2n is 1n, and 7 minus a negative 5 is going to give you 12. Okay? For this one down here, the first thing you need to do is raise everything to the t power in the second set of parentheses. So we have x to the 2a y times x to the et y to the 2mt. Okay? Now, we're still going to add these guys together. So your answer is going to be 2a plus et. There's no combining like terms there, so we just write x to the 2a plus et. Y to the, this is a 1, and this is just 2mt plus 1. So same rules. Let me emphasize the fact it's the same rules. All you have to do is apply it differently because the exponents are not just numbers anymore. Finally, the last one, we got to start this. So we're going to have x to the 3a plus 2, y to the 4b minus 1, x to the 2a, and y to the 2b plus 8. Because first you have to multiply those exponents. Combine like terms, x to the 5a plus 2, and y to the 6b plus 7. Okay, that's it for this video on exponent rules. Again, it's the same thing over and over and over, whether your exponent is just a simple number or if it's a binomial. Okay, this is Longo and I'm out. See you, bye.